Hi, everybody. This is Steph, the educator, and this is the Pedagogy podcast. Lord, I just forgot the name of my show, Essential Pedagogy Podcast, and I took time to think about a name, y'all. I did, but I am under a little bit of a stress. Of course, this is spring semester, and I always try to take it easy spring semester in a school because that's a testing season. It can be very stressful for educators, administrators, and everyone who's in education, public education, that's for sure. Um, but and the reason is because we have so many regulations. How you doing, boss woman? Regulations and new rules that come out every year about STAR testing. I'm in Texas. It's called STAR state. Um, the the state of Texas assessment readiness and skills test. Anyway, it tests children at different levels of their education, starting at the age of the third grade, and it goes on at various tests and various grade levels, various subject areas such as math and English or reading is tested at every level from third grade on, but then you add some sciences and some uh, social studies along the way as well. But it's very stressful because rules change. Things have been rapidly changing. And as I've shared before, I've been in this game for about 20 years, and it's really not a game, y'all. This is my 20th year teaching, but I've been in education for about 22 years. Every year, there's new rules, new things. Um, I feel like we are physicians of education. Like there people are physicians of health, but since things change so fast in education, and I mean faster than 1 year, we're taking paper tests and we're sending booklets away and we're showing the kids are showing their math work and their thinking on paper. And then the next year is all digital. And then nobody goes back to paper. Nobody is going back to paper. So now that brings about challenges and things that we need to deal with, where they can't have wireless headsets. They may have the test read to them, or certain parts of the test read to them. They can't have it's stuff. It's just so much stuff, and things that we have to sign oaths to. But not only that, um, in the last week, I've been thinking about restorative practices. Been thinking about restorative circles. Been thinking about collecting permission slips for a field trip, and a field trip that where kids can possibly run into animals outside. It was the outdoor learning center. Um, Dealing with parents because of that, dealing with children because of that, before the field trip, managing that paperwork alongside my normal teaching paperwork, alongside with helping the children figure out what classes they need to be registering for next year, and collecting that paperwork and helping them fill that out. And then on top of that, we have school shootings. that we hear about because we are people in society and we follow national news. And on top of that, we hear about people possibly overdosing in schools because of fentanyl. And not only that, I'm in Texas where we have made national news when it comes to fentanyl. So we have been snatched for training after, I hate to say training, professional development, because we are professionals. I hate to say train like a little circus animal or whatever, but we've been snatched for professional development after professional development after professional development. Every time a crisis happens, there is something new. We have to turn in our old crisis flip binder so we can get the updated crisis flip binder. And then we have to sign that we got the new crisis flip binder. And then no one knows what changed. So we have to look at we took a picture of our old flip binder before they took it so that we can see, oh, is that little nuance change with our flip binder that they made us sign for? Because all the changes that's happening so rapidly, I can't even focus on my curriculum the way I want to because my mind is pulled in so many different directions. And I'm trying not to let it. I really am trying to be centered and let my personal life be my personal life. But when children get shot in school, and this is happening at an alarming rate, and I'm not a researcher. I don't do a whole lot of research. I have friends who are attorneys who love that kind of thing. But I decided I wanted to do some research because I feel like the shootings are happening more and more. I feel like it's just a regular children disappearing and children being shot and children overdosing on drugs is becoming the norm now. And I love children and it's affecting me. I love children and I have to keep pushing on and I have to act like, well, that's something that's a concern and I have to be ready for it. But at the same time, I have a job to do and I cannot focus too much on it because then I won't be effective at my job. But it's affecting me. It's affecting me. There were 13 school shootings that resulted in injury in just 2023. 13. That's before the third quarter was up. As of March 27th, 13 school shootings that resulted in injuries or death. There have been 157 shootings since 2018, 51 school shootings with injuries or death last year. We are on trend this year to beat that number, and I don't like it. I don't like the fact that when people get angry, they feel like they can go into school and shoot anybody. I don't like it. I'm a gun owner, but I feel like there should be more restrictions on guns. I don't know what the answers are. I feel like there should be a median of not so strict where there's no guns out there because I understand people hunt. I understand people want to protect themselves. I want to protect myself. I'm a single lady that happens to be under 5 feet. So I understand trying to protect yourself from danger. I just don't understand why people have it in their mind that when they get angry or they want to air out their frustrations, they want to do it in a school towards kids and people that have nothing to do with their anger. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of hearing about death. I'm tired of the training on fentanyl, on keeping our doors locked. It's exasperating. I feel like I can't fully be human, that I have to be a machine to handle all this. Not to mention, I have a personal life. I got to manage my personal life, and it's really, really hard. So when a child comes to me and say, "You didn't put all my grades in. You made a mistake on this." Then I just have to say, "You know what? We'll get it next time." We'll get it next time. Because we are dealing with so much more than just a grade book, than just a curriculum, than just, I'm human. When I take in all this information, it affects me. And I can't act like it doesn't. And I don't know what people want from educators. I really don't. I wish I knew, but we cannot save the world from everything. When we got into education, our jobs were to educate in a certain subject matter. You know, it was the what they called the 3 R's, which I hate that saying: reading, writing, and arithmetic, but writing is a W anyhow. Uh, reading, um, math, and I don't know, but arithmetic is just, I don't understand that. Anyway, so I feel like we have a greater responsibility than we're supposed to, because of what our society has morphed into. Our society is morphed into a more digital world. I understand that completely. But at the same time, we have children that don't have enough outside time. They don't have enough time to play. They don't play anymore. They don't go outside. And then that keeps them from being able to resolve differences diplomatically. Um, Someone just asked about how our kids respond to the shootings. You know, when the well, I don't know how many people in middle school was watching the news when you were in the middle school. Not a lot of middle schoolers watch the news. That's not something that they're into. They watch YouTube and Beyonce and the baby, and one of the little girls said Megan the Stallion or whatever, and I was like, wow, is that what you're doing in 6th grade, watching that? But I don't. They're not watching the news, and we try not to alarm them unnecessarily in school. But when I did hear about the Tennessee shooting, I told the kids, I said, I really want you to wear your ID, and this is why Miss Powell wants you to wear your ID, because the Uvalde um, shooting affected me, and it did. It was a school shooting, but what happened was the parents couldn't identify their children because some of the children couldn't be identified by their face. And so I feel like that is part of my responsibility. And I know I get on the kids' nerves, and I know that not every teacher makes them do this, but they have to have an ID when they come into my classroom on their body, because I don't want it to be a situation where if something happens, that they were in Miss Powell's class and they didn't have anything to identify them. Yes, and sometimes the kids are part of the trainings and drills. In fact, um, their students being pulled to get fentanyl training, in which they need it because they're oblivious of what's going on. They are lacing fentanyl and making it look like candy. They're lacing these candies, lacing pills at these kids. The I don't know, ADHD type pills that they're looking for, or ADD pills that some people may be looking for, or some other drugs that they may look for. They're lacing the fentanyl on everything so that they can get addicted faster, but they are getting overdosed because it doesn't take much for them to die. Where other drugs, it takes a whole lot more. It does not take as much of the fentanyl drug for children or anybody to overdose. Um, and they're taking this not to die, not to commit suicide, but just for a high, and they don't know. So some of these things these kids need to be aware of, not to take anything that looks like some of the drugs look like sweet tarts, or what are those candies that are different colors, not sweet tarts, just candy. um They can come in a pill form, they can come in a powder form, it can come in all kinds of ways. They can put it on anything and it can kill them. And it has been documented in our vicinity in Texas that kids have been overdosing. Middle school and high school kids have been overdosing. Children have been overdosing on this because they think they're taking something else. So we have to educate them not to take things from other people, not to, oh, this is candy, or oh, this is something that's going to make me high and I'm going to get through the school day better. We have to educate children that if you don't feel well emotionally, then you need to get help other ways. Um, but so far, it hasn't stopped, and it bothers me. So I've been trying to pray about it, um, and I've been trying to deal with it as best as I can, but it's really affecting me. We have bad behaviors in school. We have children in the last couple of weeks. We've had a staff member resign because of an incident that happened in school, and it's heartbreaking when you work with someone and you get encouragement from them. You're like, I'm having a bad day, and then something happens and they're gone. And it's like a regular occurrence now. It used to be that when you started teaching with someone and you decide to stay at the same school and not transfer, or not get another job, you could potentially work with someone. I've worked with people for 11 years. 11 years. Same people. But now it's like they come and go. 3 months here, 6 months there. They're coming and going, and it's a unrest with the children. It's with other adults in the building. We don't know what to expect. They talk about the kids and their anxiety and how we have to be the foundation for them. But I am under anxiety too. I don't know what to expect every day when I walk in. I pray every day. And in fact, I feel like I've had covering because I've prayed every day. I've had a student that transferred in who's over 6 feet tall. He transferred in at an irregular time. And I've been in education long enough to know that when a student transfers in at an irregular time and they have a certain type of behavior and demeanor, that there was a story that happened before they came to my school, especially if it was just, uh, you know, beginning of November, uh, end of October, they're transferring in. They're not transferring in at Christmas, Thanksgiving, where people try to move and get settled in. It's a good time to move because they have the time off, or spring break, usually get an influx of kids. Um, that's not when that happened. So I knew something was up with this kid, and it was not pretty. It's not pretty. But thank God, the covering, the covering that this child did not cut up with me, that this child, because this child towered over me, but always answered, yes, ma'am, to me, not to other people, was very disrespectful, called people out their names, charged at them, but not to me. And I think it's because all day, every day, I was praying. Um, it's tough, and it's an ever changing world. So we don't know what to expect. We don't know what's going to happen. We didn't know the fentanyl crisis was going to be as strong. There were only 883 people who died that connected to fentanyl related overdoses in 2020, right? Only in the whole state of Texas. And Texas is big. 883. We've already had what, two deaths in the same city in 2023. It's a lot. It's on an uptick, I feel like, but I just want people to be aware that there's a whole lot in this world that is happening, and unless we get our foundations together and have some time to get our minds right. I think I'm going to take a mental health day sometime in May. It's not going to be the best time. Everybody's not going to be happy about it. I'm going to try and not do this on a day that we're doing any state testing, but I think I need to take a mental health day. And I suggest that other educators do it too. I know we have a shortage of substitutes. I know we do. And I know it's going to be even harder on the other educators in the building because they ask us to sub when they can't get any substitutes. And I've done it myself, but I got to take it. I got to take it. And I have been trying to have very healthy boundaries, especially this year. You know, I had a milestone um, birthday, which I turned 50. And I've been very adamant that there's certain work I will take home and there's certain work I won't do at home. And when I give it a limit, I give it a limit so that I can continue to be pleasant when I'm at school. I want to continue to be pleasant. I want to continue to have a smile on my face every day when the kids walk in. But when I allow the boundaries to be eroded, then that's very hard to do. You know, that's very, very hard to do. So, what I want to advise other educators is please take care of yourself. Please have fun. Please spend time with your family. Please don't keep the lessons you learn at school um, to yourself, but share them with your family. Um, we watched a very interesting video at school. It was about fentanyl. This is like our fourth training on fentanyl. By the way, we've been trained on how to administer Narcan. We have been trained about what children look like when they're unresponsive and what to do about it. So when we were pulled for another emergency kind of meeting during our, well, it was during our faculty meeting, it just struck me so much that I felt like I had to text my children and say, you know what, mommy loves you. I love you, and do not take anything from anybody. And I think sometimes we take things for granted, and I would hate for the things that we learn at work that we don't apply some of these things to our personal lives. We don't share our knowledge with other people because really, school is a beautiful thing, but it's getting harder and harder for me to love. It's getting further and further away from the school that I did fall in love with. And that's really tough because all my life I've been in school teaching, like most of my career. It's heartbreaking, but it's getting further and further away. And I want to know how to get that back. I want to know how to get that innocence back. It's not educational innocence and fun and not like it used to be. And I want that back. I desperately want that back. And I don't know how to get it. And it doesn't matter what school you go to, it's like our society. I'm sorry to be like so like I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like not a great, positive show. I want compassion to be built as a result of this show. I don't want you to walk away with a heavy cloud, but I do want you to be woke and aware. I know people think about this word woke as this negative thing, but really, really aware. Let's use aware. Let's not use woke because I know what people think about woke. Anyway, aware. I want you to be aware about what's going on. I really do. And this is not going on just in like high school or college. This is going on all over the place. Young kids. Young kids are not as safe as they used to be. Young kids are exposed to so much more. And that's the reason why the last show, They Cares Too, yeah. The last show, we talked about how parents and relatives need to step up and be grown-ups and make decisions for our children. Take those phones at night. Take them. Take the phones at night. They don't need them. The reason why parents get in an uproar about kids' phones being taken at school is because, oh, they need to get in touch with me just in case of an emergency. But if they're in your home, there's no emergency. Just take the phone. Y'all have conversation. Y'all be the entertainment. Take the phone. Yeah. I was absolutely floored when we came back from. I'm just gonna go after this point. When we came back from the field trip, and the kids had a little time because they didn't have their Chromebook devices. Anyway, they had a little time, so we were just chit chatting with the kids, and the kids were talking about TikTok and all this stuff. I was so shocked to hear how this little girl knew all the TikTok dances to this Megan Thee Stallion woman's songs. And I was like, first of all, not that I listen to Megan Thee Stallion all the time, but I do know a couple of songs that this woman sing or raps. And I do not believe an 11, 12-year-old should know the song so well that they know the TikTok moves and everything to it. I just don't. But that's the world we live in. Um, I know I cannot stop and heal people enough to where they feel like they don't have to go into a school and shoot. I know I can't stop it, me on my own. I know that I cannot stop drug abuse because it's been since the beginning of time. People want to escape through different means. But I do want to equip parents to be aware and to be aware enough to do something different at home, to talk to your children at home, to help them be healthier so that when they grow up, they don't feel compelled to shoot a school. They don't feel compelled to escape with drugs. I've had a teacher, not a teacher, a parent say it starts at school, but it really doesn't. It starts at home. The more formative years start before they're 5 years old. So I need for us to make changes. We need to make changes. And that starts with us making boundaries for our lives and not letting work overtake us. Because look, it can erode all of our emotions. I'm going to take a little time off in May. And I suggest if you need time off, take the time. But don't take the time and be on TikTok. Take the time and be with your family and talk with your family and be real. And until next time, this is Steph, the educator, with Essential Pedagogy. Thank you so much.